presentation, we're going to discuss office professionalism, which is defined as the competence or skill expected of a professional. And this is really talking about how we present ourselves and how we appear to others. And it's also talking about the way our employers or our organizations are going to expect us to present ourselves. So presenting a professional appearance to your coworkers and outsiders is essential to your professional success. And things like your appearance, dress, your speaking, your writing, and the way you conduct yourself all have an important impact on how professional you're going to appear. So a couple of new things maybe in this lecture, but really also kind of a review of some of the things we've been talking about this far. And kind of putting all those things together is going to contribute to your overall professionalism. So appearance is part of that professionalism, and knowing the difference between how you present yourself at work and how you present yourself outside of work is important. So it's really talking about that first impression that your coworkers and clients are going to make of you. And we all know that we only takes a couple seconds to form that first impression. So a couple things here under appearance I want to talk about. The first one is hygiene. These should be things we all know well about, but it's important to make sure they're covered just to be safe. So things to keep in mind for hygiene: we want to keep our hair clean, trimmed, and combed. Men should have clean-shaven faces. Usually, or if they have a beard, keep it trimmed. We should be using makeup, ladies, makeup sparingly. We don't want to overdo it. Fingernails for both men and women, we want to have neat, trimmed, and clean. Also avoid super long, like acrylic nails with flashy designs. For oral hygiene, making sure we have brushed teeth, fresh breath, and if we are eating food that presents odors, that we do take care of that with maybe an extra brushing or something like that. We want to be freshly bathed and use deodorant, especially if we're working in close quarters with our coworkers. And we want to try to be free of fragrance. You can use sometimes a light perfume or lotion, but many offices are adopting now a fragrance-free work area because because a lot of people have allergies to fragrances. And so I guess know your environment there, but do be careful of fragrance. This might not seem fair to us, but people are going to judge us on how we appear when they see us. And that's going to contribute to our overall professional and how competent people think we are. So if we're dressed appropriately for the job, our clothes should be clean and odor-free. Our clothing should be neat and tidy and kind of inconspicuous, not super flashy. Professional, comfortable. Jewelry, we can wear jewelry, but we don't want it to be too large or too flashy again. It should be complementary. We should have shoes that are clean, not scuffed, and comfortable and appropriate for the job we're trying to do. If you know you're going to be running around a lot for an event that day, wearing 6-inch heels are probably not the best choice for you. You can still wear nice looking professional shoes, but maybe take that heel down a little bit depending on what your day is going to involve. Tattoos and piercings, can be controversial. And again, this is know your audience, know your workplace. But generally, in most business culture, for professionalism, you should have them covered, if at all possible, and piercings other than ear piercings should be removed. But really what you're going to want to do here is in your workplace, you want to review the company dress code policy and make sure you're following it. Things that are usually inappropriate at all times for the workplace would be things like flip-flops, tank tops, halter tops, midriff tops, writing on shirts, exposing bare shoulders, which I know that is a trend in fashion right now, or wearing a very low or revealing neckline. We should also stay away from sweatshirts, sweatpants, and tennis shoes. So having a nice overall appearance with our dress and hygiene is going to contribute favorably to our appearance and professionalism. The other part of professionalism that I want to discuss is our communication skills. Now, we've talked about communication skills already in a separate unit in this course, so I'm not going to do too much on it here. But when we are communicating clearly with our supervisors, our coworkers, and clients, as well as the public, this is an essential element in our professional presentation. So there's different things we have to look for here. There's the speech. Those are the words we use. And then there's also our body language. So speech is the words we use both written and orally. So written communications are very important in the business setting. The way we format, edit, proofread documents definitely affect our overall professionalism. The way that we write and how that all contributes to that person we're writing to's impression of us. So if we're quickly shooting out an email that's full of slang and misspelled words, that's going to give people a negative impression of us. They're not going to think we know what we're doing. That's going to decrease our professionalism. And we want to have proper telephone etiquette, which we've discussed as well, but making sure we're communicating clearly over the telephone also contributes to our professionalism. We can display professionalism in something as small as not forgetting to put attachments in your email, or writing without grammatical errors, or in something as complex as performing a task with limited resources in a given amount of time and doing it, without too much delay. Also, part of communication, being a good listener. We've talked about this before, being an active listener, paying attention to what the speaker is saying, not interrupting the speaker. I know this is one that a lot of us mentioned in discussion boards and things that we need to work on. I think it's one that we can always all work on, myself included. But try not to start thinking about your answer while the other person's still speaking. Speaking clearly and professionally and directly are all good qualities of an office professional. And in general, if you can't say something nice, you shouldn't say it at all. And that's kind of goes right into the golden rule: treat others as you would like to be treated. So that's all part of that speech. As far as body language goes, we've already talked about the nonverbals, facial expressions, gestures. This is all going to affect how people interpret what we're saying. We want to use eye contact, of course, when we're speaking. We've talked about that as well. And we need to make sure we're positive in our body language. If we're crossing our arms during a meeting, we're going to be giving a negative impression off at that meeting. If we have a scowl on our face, this is also going to send a bad message to our coworkers or supervisor. Next, I want to talk about manners. Manners is just general, overall good business manners is important for professionalism. A couple things to point out here would be etiquette, using good office etiquette whenever possible. And this is just like the kind of etiquette I mean here is, do I want to be around you all day at work every day? Are you a considerate coworker? Are you a friendly coworker? Are you a considerate cubicle neighbor? Are you always popping up over my cubicle when I'm trying to do my work? Are you playing your music too loud? Are you eating onions at your desk? Are you talking loudly on the phone? Or, to people across the hall in our cubicle village. Just courtesy here in office etiquette is something really important to stress as far as professionalism. If you're interrupting conversations, if you're storming into the office, all those types of things are going to contribute there. And then in general, just being friendly at work, making sure to greet others and use introductions, be respectful in that way, be inviting. If you see someone down the hall, make sure you're saying hello. And don't forget to introduce others who might not know each other, even within your company and organization. And then where it's appropriate and when it's appropriate, not forgetting to use good handshakes at work as well. That's all part of professionalism. Finally, looking at teamwork as a critical skill in our office professionalism. Here we can keep that networking in mind. If you treat one person rudely within your office, it's going to get around to other people. So we want to maintain effective working relationships with others. And so this is where the networking we've been talking about over the last few weeks comes into play. Having good, mutually beneficial relationships in our workplace is going to reduce office conflict, and it's going to improve productivity, not only for ourselves, but for our office areas. So we want to stay true to our word. We don't want to take advantage of others. So, working on that net balance again. We don't want to always be asking our coworkers for things and never helping them out in return. We want to have a good work ethic at work. These could also be called job keeping skills. We want to use good judgment while at work. We want to take initiative. We want to be able to be an independent worker, meet our deadlines. We want to be dependable and show up for work and meetings on time. This is a really important one there. That's part of our behavior at work. Keeping a positive attitude at work is very important to stay professional, and having good integrity. So it's important for office professionals to demonstrate these skills, but it's also important for all employees within an organization to have professionalism. And one final word, caution would be just, in general, try to keep your personal life at home. And when you're at work, to keep a positive attitude and have a pleasant behavior, so that people are able to bear with you all day, and they want to work with you. That's just going to make everything more pleasant for everyone. So those are the main points I wanted to talk about regarding office professionalism, your appearance, your communication skills, your manners, and your teamwork skills. Thank you.